The following podcast is a W2M Network original production. Visit W2Mnet.com for all of our other great podcasts, plus news, reviews, articles, and opinions from the worlds of wrestling, video games, football, and entertainment.
Wrestling to the Max, Smackdown, Review.
And we are live to tape on the W2M Network for the Wrestling to the Max Smackdown live review for May the 8th, 2018. Good evening, afternoon, whenever you're listening to this, everybody. I am your host. My name is Harry Broadhurst. Joining me, as per usual, the co-hostess with the mostest, Miss Liz Pugliese.
Hello.
And the Lord Farquaad to my Shrek, Brandon Biskobing.
Donkey!
Donkey! All right, donkey. Oh, wait till you hear the impression that goes with the one for 205 Live a little bit later on. Liz,
God.
Liz knows what's up. That's all I'm saying.
What's up?
This is the first episode of Backlash, the first episode of SmackDown after Backlash. Jesus. The last thing I want to do is cover that show again. Although if you want to listen to us cover it, and why would you, frankly? But if you
Hey, they can laugh at our ridiculous antics and us pissing off Liz.
Hey, we still have to work with her for 2 shows tonight, Brandon. Be nice.
I'm just saying for the listeners, if they'd like to listen to the craziness that occurred as a result of the shit show that is Backlash, then they can tune into that shit.
Show was so bad he doesn't even remember the name.
Pretty much.
With the exception of Miz versus Rollins. But anyway,
Well, yes,
so yeah,
course.
if you want to listen to our thoughts on that show, by all means, it's available in the archives, anywhere you can listen to your W2M Network podcasts, iTunes, iHeartRadio, Stitcher, Podbean, CastBox. Coming soon, allegedly, to Spotify. I've been saying that for a month and a half, so we'll see. Just saying. In addition, you can find the W2M Network online at W2Mnet.com, even though the promo at the start of the show kind of tells you that already. I really don't need to beat a dead horse with this. Whatever. Anywho, with that being said, what do you say we get into the first episode of SmackDown on the road to Money in the Bank?
Let's do it.
Our opening promo, scheduled for 10 minutes. Fine. It's paid.
You know I don't do it for those.
It's paid to play the part of Kurt Angle from last night. Hey, Backlash happened. Hey, it was a rousing... No, shut up. No, it wasn't. Show sucked. Hush. Quiet. She tells us that we'll find out more down the road coming up as far as Shinsuke Nakamura and AJ Styles due to the double low blow kick finish there. In addition, we have Money in the Bank qualifying matches for tonight, as well as other non-qualifying matches scheduled for the night. And the qualifying for Money in the Bank starts right now. Our opening contest, scheduled for one fall, is the first of 2 Money in the Bank qualifying matches tonight, as The Miz takes on the United States champion, Jeffrey Hardy. First of all, the name Hardiac Arrest is stupid. And Tom Phillips should be shot.
Who was it tonight that kept on stuttering and misplacing his words? Was that Tom or was that Byron Saxton?
I think it may have been Tom. Anyways, the match itself goes just a shade over 20 minutes with commercials and sees The Miz pick up a pinfall clean victory where he uses the Triple H counter from Cyber Sunday 2008. After Jeff hits the Swanton Bomb, Miz catches Jeff in a mat-based crucifix for the win and advances to Money in the Bank ladder match. I would argue that both of these guys are above Money in the Bank. But if you're going to put somebody in there, it may as well be Miz, so that way Jeff can defend the U.S. title. No? Liz, your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, I enjoyed the match. I thought they both did, a really good job, gave us a good match. But I didn't think Jeff would win. I do kind of miss the days where the IC champ was automatically the number one contender. But that was so long ago.
Oh,
but
yes.
I didn't. I'm kind of surprised that Miz is in it as well. But I guess it makes sense to keep him in the hunt, somehow, and kind of move him away from some of the same stuff he's been doing.
I mean, I don't really think that this is a bad thing. I think, especially for those who like Miz, that this is a good thing for him because, I mean, while you can claim that, at least in terms of fan perception, that they both are above the Money in the Bank ladder match, in reality, if you really think about it, the Money in the Bank briefcase is the best thing that anyone can have in terms of, getting a title shot, because you don't even... I mean, yes, technically you're earning it, but you don't have to go through the whole process of winning a number one contendership match and all of that, and you're not... if done correctly, and most guys do, with the exception of John Cena, you're not really getting a match. You're getting a freebie, pretty much. So, this would be a great way if they did want to go with The Miz getting the top title at some point. This would be the best way, especially with his persona, for him to get it.
But it's something we've already seen done before because they did
that
with Miz and Randy Orton back in 2008.
Oh, no, I completely understand that, but, history has repeated itself with Money in the Bank before. I mean, look at Punk.
They used the second Punk one to kick off a heel run, though. Miz is a steady heel. It doesn't make sense for them to put the briefcase on Miz. True. I think honestly, Miz is just in the match to keep him away from Bryan at the pay-per-view.
Oh, I definitely agree with that. This is just kind of a filler spot for him because they don't really want, they don't really have anything specific for him. But also, if you think about it, even if they do want to extend, which I have a feeling they're going to draw out the Miz Bryan thing as long as they can. Honestly, this win does something else as well. It allows them, even if he does, I mean, I would assume he will lose in the Money in the Bank ladder match. But, this sets up the potential for him being the number one contender for the U.S. title because he beat the champion in Jeff Hardy.
And that's something that they could play off and eventually have Miz and Bryan before that United States title, much the same way it was the first time they won at it back in 2010.
True.
Before we move on, another reason that they might have him in is because they know he can deliver in it.
True.
But you do get a lot of people in these matches who you're like, why are they in this? Why are they in this match? And I'm not knocking these guys. Obviously, I can't do what they do. But Miz is definitely somebody who can keep things moving along and happening in that style of match.
But by that logic, Jeff would be the even better choice for that sort of spot because, he can do
I don't think so. Jeff is still relatively off an injury, and he also has the US title, so I don't think they'd put him in it.
Oh no, I don't think they would, but in that type of match you expect a Jeff Hardy to be in there and do his craziness.
I mean, if he didn't have the US title and they don't think if he was just fresh back from an injury, I think he probably would have been in it.
Mm-hmm.
I would also make the argument that Hardy's too unreliable to put into this match, whereas Miz, you know what you're getting.
Yeah.
Anywho, moving on here, that's our opening contest. Backstage, we see a segment where Sheamus is eating Lucky Charms. Liz, your thoughts?
He's so freckly. That's my thought.
And Cesaro comes in to kind of bust his balls about losing to Xavier Woods last week. Cesaro then states that he's going to beat Xavier Woods and goes to get his gear out of his bag, only to find out that his gear has been replaced by a bag full of pancakes. Billy.
Come on, it was funny.
It's vandalism.
Actually, isn't it theft? Because where was their gear?
And not to mention, he had his gear when he came down to the ring later anyway. So where in the hell did it magically appear from?
Maybe they took it. Maybe it was left for them somewhere.
It was underneath the plethora of pancakes.
No, because they dumped them out.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
He dumped them out and threw them at Sheamus. Brandon's favorite part of the show airs next as a Sanity hype package reveals that we will be getting to see Eric Young, Killian Dane, and Alexander Wolf sooner rather than later.
Woot woot.
Renee Young has a backstage interview with Shinsuke Nakamura, now able to speak English again. Good for him. I'm glad he got over his English deference. However, he doesn't really say a whole lot, just stating that he's going to take care of AJ Styles. They aren't done. And while Styles is nuts, yuck, 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 so is Shinsuke. There will be a Carmella-bration in London in order to celebrate Carmella beating Charlotte and being gloriously bitchy about it. I beat Charlotte Flair! I beat Charlotte Flair! I beat Charlotte Flair!
That damn song from her promos prior to the match has been stuck in my head ever since.
That it's all about me.
Yes. That
I feel like that song was meant for Emma, and then when she got fired, they just gave it to Carmella.
Pretty much.
Anywho, Ty Dillinger talks about winning Money in the Bank. I'm sorry, I can't take Ty seriously. And then so does Naomi. I'm assuming Naomi's qualifying match will be next week on SmackDown Live. Mm-hmm. Or, I mean, they still got 5 episodes to get to Money in the Bank. We'll see sometime between now and June the 17th. Anywho, Billie Kay and Peyton Royce make fun of Charlotte's face after losing to Carmella at Backlash. And then a Money in the Bank qualifying match scheduled for one fall. Sees Charlotte take on Peyton Royce. And in the end, at about 12 minutes and 53 seconds, at 12:53, according to the timing I'm seeing on Larry's report, 9 minutes or so aired, Charlotte taps Peyton Royce with the figure 8 and moves on to the women's Money in the Bank. See, now this is a situation of putting somebody into this match that's been there before and knows what they're doing. Mm-hmm. They kind of had to worry that Peyton would be kind of that fish out of water in this contest, whereas Charlotte was in both of the first 2 women's Money in the Bank ladder matches last year, so she has a general idea of what to expect and how to help put the match together.
Not only that, but I feel like she was in another ladder match, like the first women's ladder match, either in NXT or on the main roster or something.
I don't think they've ever done a women's ladder match except for the 2 Money in the Banks.
Okay.
I recall there being a women's ladder match in OVW, but that significantly predates Charlotte.
Oh, yeah.
That actually had Beth Phoenix in it. Fun little fact. It's available on the Greatest Ladder Matches Volume 2 DVD set. Liz, your thoughts on Peyton Royce and Charlotte?
It was alright. It wasn't. I hate the whole story about her uncle, or if that was the other one, whoever the heck it was ridiculous. They lost me a little bit with that, but it was a decent match. I actually paid attention to it for a change. It was, I don't know. I mean, you can make the argument, Charlotte. I mean, I just made the same argument for Miz, the reason why he's in the match, so it makes sense.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Yeah. This match, it was a solid match. I mean, the good thing about it was that you really honestly didn't fully know, especially with how they've been pushing Peyton and Billie lately, who would win this match. But I think they definitely did make the right choice with putting a veteran in there who knows what she's doing, can help. Maybe if they do decide to put a few of the younger women who are, who were just called up, some of the recent call-ups, into this match, she can help guide them through it.
Well, you already have Ember Moon in there, too, who,
Exactly.
to my knowledge, has never been in a ladder match.
True.
Daniel Bryan backstage promo talking about the fact that he made Big Cass tap out on Sunday. Big Cass is nowhere to be seen on this episode of SmackDown. I'd like they keep
Thank
it
God.
that. Thank you very much. But despite the ass kicking that he took from Cass after the match and the beating he sustained during the course of the Greatest Royal Rumble, Bryan says that he's ready to go for tonight. Backstage promos, real quick, from Shelton Benjamin and Asuka about winning Money in the Bank. I feel like Asuka using Money in the Bank to turn heel would be fantastic. Let's say Charlotte gets the women's title back from Carmella, and then Asuka uses Money in the Bank to cash in on Charlotte. I think that there's something there, and I think that there would be a significant part of the fan base that would actually be understanding of why Asuka would stoop to that level. But there's also going to be part of that fan base that's pissed off that she did so because she's doing so against a fellow babyface in Charlotte.
I honestly think the best and the funniest storyline that they could do is have a complete role reversal and have Charlotte cash in on Carmella.
God, no.
It's not going to happen. The announcers were talking about it, so there's no way they're going to foreshadow it like that. Our next contest, scheduled for one fall, is the aforementioned Cesaro versus Xavier Woods match. 7 minutes and 8 seconds later, counting commercial break here, Cesaro stiffs the absolute bejesus out of Xavier with an uppercut out of a springboard attempt and picks up the victory. Good Lord, he could not have hit him harder if he tried.
It only went 7 minutes?
Yes.
Wow.
About 4 minutes of which was actually aired. The other 3 minutes was the picture-in-picture commercial stuff.
Wow, I thought it went longer, and that's not saying it as a bad thing. This was a very good match.
I thought it went longer as well. It seemed like a longer match. It was very well paced.
Mm-hmm. Well paced, and like I mentioned with the Charlotte and Peyton Royce match, you didn't fully know who was going to win this match, which makes it more interesting.
Yeah, they kind of teased that Xavier was going to pick up another win here just to continue to give the advantage to the New Day, because you would think that when they have the tag team match in London next week, it's probably going to be Big E and Kofi against Cesaro and Sheamus.
It's nice to see Xavier getting a little bit more time in the ring.
Well,
Apparently
Sorry, Liz.
No, I'm sorry, sweetie. It says I was checking his Twitter to see if he said anything about the bleeding, and he says there's a hole in his tongue.
So he may have bit his tongue on that uppercut then.
Oh, damn.
Well, Cesaro knocked you stiff with one of those Europeans. That's for damn sure.
Nothing's worse than what happened on Sunday, though.
Yeah, poor AJ Styles' face.
You could see it, too, tonight.
He's next, actually. So it's kind of, I guess the appropriate word to use here would be segue. As it is an AJ Styles backstage promo where he talks about the fact that, once again, Shinsuke knows how to speak English. Neither of them was cleared to compete this evening. But that's all, folks. However, while he doesn't like to fight like Shinsuke has been, he will do so when he has to, especially when it comes to keeping the WWE Championship. He then says that he doesn't care when, where, or why. He will finish off Shinsuke Nakamura. Up next, we see a Bludgeon Brothers hype promo, and I can't help but think to myself, those poor Mattel action figures.
That was creepy.
As an action figure collector myself, I thought, well, that's just a waste of good figures.
Crush.
I mean, it was a little out there, even for them.
I honestly didn't know who it was, if this was someone new coming in or something at first, and then it was like, oh, it's Bludgeon Brothers, okay.
Sonya Deville is about to accompany Mandy Rose out to ringside for her match against Becky Lynch, but Paige puts the kibosh in that because mother's gonna mother, I guess.
No, it's the complete opposite.
I know why they did it. This failed attempted humor brought to you by Brandon Biskobing.
Its absolution is dead.
Does it mean that Sonya and Mandy can't still be friends? Or more than friends? Waka waka.
If that's going to be her new entrance, they need to put Absolution back together again.
Oh,
they
yeah.
Need to find the
I absolutely loved Mandy's new entrance.
You would, just as much as I loved, Sheamus's freckles there. But, no, it was awful. I actually like Mandy Rose. She looked awkward and a tad bit uncomfortable, to me. It was, remember how a little earlier you said about music, that whole thing just was like something they took from, Emma was supposed to do and let's try it with Mandy, the whole Emelina crap or, whatever. It was awkward. It was awful.
See, I think it's just going to take some time for Mandy to find her footing with it. I think it could work.
Oh, come on. You're saying it because it's Mandy.
No, I'm not saying that just because it's Mandy. I'm saying that because of the camera effects that it have definitely play off of the Golden Goddess character that she's kind of created for herself.
It wasn't the effects. It wasn't the effects. It was the way they had her walking and the posing. I don't know. It didn't. I don't know. I think she's better than that. I think she has a lot of potential. I think I like her. I just thought the whole thing was very, very awkward. And it wasn't the effects. It was the way she was walking, the looks on her face, that type of thing.
I'm gonna send you pictures of Sheamus's freckles so you'll leave Mandy alone.
Can somebody remind Corey he's a married man, for Christ's sakes?
Yeah.
Corey's the new king.
Corey's selling the gimmick here, which is fantastic because he's been this way about Mandy ever since she debuted in NXT.
He really is. It's hysterical. No, it's hysterical.
Maybe his wife's into it. What do we know? I'm not going to make the same joke that I made before we went on the air about the Bella Twins. We're just going to leave it at that. Moving on. Our next contest, scheduled for one fall, is Becky Lynch and Mandy Rose, where Mandy Rose actually picks up a somewhat clean pinfall victory in 2.5 minutes to continue the storyline that Becky's on a slide and Mandy's on the rise. I actually think Becky's got to be your favorite for the Money in the Bank ladder match, though. They could use this to definitely put some lust back into Becky Lynch's character and to give her something else to work with, because usually they have the people going into Money in the Bank come out of it with a losing streak, but at the same time, a redemption storyline where Becky's losing and losing and losing on the road to Money in the Bank and then gets the briefcase would be a nice change of pace.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I could totally see that. The big question is how they get her into the match because, with the losing streak, if you're going to go that route, she has to obviously win in order to get in there.
Maybe she picks up a disqualification victory to sneak her way in or something?
Maybe.
DQ count out. Liz, your thoughts on the match itself?
It was alright.
She just hates
Really?
Mandy Rose's entrance.
No, it was an okay match. It's 2 hours after it, and I forgot all about it. It was a decent match. I'm glad that Becky advanced. I think you're right. I think Becky's the one to watch in the Money in the Bank.
Me off because I won't be here for the show next week. Andrade Cien Almas finally debuts in ring next week from London. God damn it, Andrade. Oh, they also announced the tag team match that I talked about earlier between the New Day and Sheamus and Cesaro, with the caveat that one of the members of the winning team is into the Money in the Bank ladder match. I feel like this would be a perfect opportunity to either turn Sheamus and Cesaro on one another and let them begin their singles careers once again, because the SmackDown tag team division is stacked, or to give the opportunity to Big E to go into Money in the Bank and let him have the opportunity to take a crack at a heavyweight championship, thereby keeping the New Day together, but getting us away from the rut that they've been stuck in ever since they dropped their most recent set of tag team titles.
Hey, why not do both at the same time?
Because lose, Brandon.
Exactly, but doing one does not negate the other, because the first your first point could happen through them losing.
Yes, but at the same time, I think it would be more entertaining to see them fighting over who gets to be into the Money in the Bank ladder match.
True.
Have them have a match on SmackDown to determine which one of them gets the spot. One of them screws the other with a dirty finish. Uses the tights, grabs the ropes, uses some kind of foreign object. Use that as the catalyst for the breakup. I know Liz doesn't want to see them break up, but frankly, SmackDown needs single stars, not tag team.
Honestly, the other way you could do it, though, is, and it would have worked better if Cesaro had lost. Well, actually, it kind of works with Cesaro beating Xavier tonight. Have Sheamus eat the pin next week, and then have Cesaro basically just turn on him because they lost, and then Cesaro basically demand to Paige, hey, I wasn't the one that got pinned, I'm the better guy, I'm the better wrestler, yada yada yada, I deserve an opportunity, and then she puts him in a match against Sheamus for another spot in the ladder match.
The issue with that, though, is that there's only 2 spots left for SmackDown, and whoever wins this match is getting one of them.
True, but I mean, who else would you be putting in from SmackDown into Orton, you think?
Speaking of people who are experienced in these kind of matches, you could put in Orton, you could put in the aforementioned Shelton Benjamin. Ty Dillinger's trying to make a case, hysterical as it may be. Sorry, Ty, I like you as a wrestler, but you're not at that level. Sorry, buddy. Liz, do you have anything to add here, even though I'm trying to break up one of your favorite tag teams?
I don't care if they break up. I mean, eventually, they will. I just don't want that whole Sheamus Cesaro feud we had to sit through for as much as I like both of them for months on end. Nobody wants to revisit that.
As long as this time it ends in a clean finish, I'm okay with it.
Yeah,
likewise, matches were fantastic.
But you asked me my opinion.
Go ahead.
I'm giving it. No, I mean, they break up. I don't care. It happens all the time. Tag teams break up. They get back together. If one of them is going to go into the Money in the Bank match, my money is on Cesaro.
I see what you did there.
Because I'm thinking that if Sheamus really does have this neck injury, they might want to, or neck issue, they might want to keep him out of it. And I would love to see Cesaro win the Money in the Bank.
I feel kind of bad that I thought this, but when you said tag teams, they make up, they break up, they get back together, they break up, they get back together. The only thing that went through my head there was the old, why can't we be friends? Why can't we be friends?
Be friends. Da, da, da.
Speaking of music, hey Liz.
Mm-hmm.
What day is it?
Rusev Day.
It's Rusev Day.
Enjoy it while it lasts, guys.
Yeah, well, it's still lasting, sucker. Contrary to your predictions, our main event.
You haven't seen the rumors then, and one fall.
Liz beat you to it.
No, we say it at the same time.
Because it's Rusev Day.
Liz beat you to that one. Anyway, the main event, I reiterate, Rusev in the main event, taking on Daniel Bryan. And not only taking on Daniel Bryan, but in somewhat of a shocker, cleanly pinning Daniel Bryan with the Machka kick at 11 minutes and 25 seconds. I have a lot of questions coming out of this match, but I'll ask the 2 most obvious ones here. A, agree or disagree with the decision? I'll go first here. I completely agree with it. Daniel Bryan in a ladder match is a concept that scares the absolute shit out of me. I want no part of it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, that's the reason why this happened. Pure and simple.
Liz, agree or disagree?
I'll agree because I could care less about Brian being in the ladder match. Obviously, it's because of his neck. I think that'd be ridiculous, and it's you know, God forbid, he got hurt, of course. But I'm glad Rusev. Obviously, I'm glad Rusev is going to get a shot to be in it.
That takes me to the second point here. Could they use this as the catalyst to break up Rusev Day, which Brandon was kind of teasing earlier? Could they use this as the catalyst for Lana to tell Rusev, you don't need Aiden English anymore when you have this opportunity staring you square in the face? Brandon, go first here because I know that's kind of where you were leaning.
Yeah, I could see it happening. I could. There are a number of ways that they can do it, but I think it's going to happen sooner rather than later. So yeah, I see this as the catalyst.
Liz?
I guess I honestly haven't thought of it. I didn't think about it. Anything's possible though.
Third, and this is the most important aspect of this to me here, even if they do break up Aiden English and Rusev, I really don't think it matters. I think Rusev Day sticks around and Rusev just claims it as his own.
I'll agree with that. I mean, he's definitely going to keep the Rusev Day gimmick going because of how popular it is and everything. But I just feel like it's going to lose at least some of its luster without the introduction that you're getting and all of that. Because maybe the whole thing about Rusev Day that even started it was Aiden English doing that.
No, I will agree with that, but at the same time, you could also kind of bastardize that by having Lana do the introductions.
Yeah, I have a feeling that'll probably happen. I could see that.
Liz, does Rusev Day continue even if Rusev and English break up?
Probably in some way. I mean, they're going to put him back with Lana. I think they can, twist it to their advantage to keep it going. That's really not something I've given any thought to, so I can't really offer any theory up on it.
Post-match, Daniel Bryan sits on the apron like a sad panda, and I half expected Cass to come in and kick his head off. Thankfully, that doesn't happen.
Honestly, I was surprised. I mean, for you guys, I'm sure it's happily surprised in multiple ways. But I was honestly surprised that the way they had Rusev when it wasn't because of a big Cass interference, thus continuing the feud into Money in the Bank.
Well, I still think we're not done with Bryan and Cass, but yeah, I was definitely surprised when Rusev picked up a clean win here. Mm-hmm. Liz?
I'm not surprised that they picked up a clean win. He picked up a clean win. Why? Because it's Daniel?
And because Daniel it's Rusev.
No, I don't buy that the heel always cheats to win nonsense because it's not true for every Dawn match. And if it was, it would be ridiculous and get stale very quickly and boring. I think Daniel being who Daniel is, a loss is not, gonna hurt him. I think they're going somewhere, obviously, with all of this. Does he have doubt? Did he do the right thing? What's gonna happen? Whatever. And but I think he's the type that definitely would not mind somebody like Rusev getting a clean win over him.
That is the last image that we get on the show. We fade from there, thus ending this episode of SmackDown Live. Scale of 1 to 10, Bisco.
I'll give it a 6. It wasn't anything crazy, but there were a few decent matches tonight.
Miss Pugliese?
I'm going to go 6.5. I really enjoyed it.
I'm higher than both of you guys. I gave it a 7.5. This is one of the better episodes of SmackDown Live in a long time, in my opinion.
I can see that.
Very heavily wrestling focused, which is something that I always ask for on this show. And when I get my wish, I'm not going to bitch about it. One word, Brandon, what do you got?
Progression. They're moving out of, the horrible show that was Backlash and moving into Money in the Bank, getting their their qualification matches done and all of that, and preparing for Money in the Bank.
Moving towards what is traditionally one of their better shows of the year in the bank as well.
Mm-hmm.
Liz?
Satisfying. It's a good show. I think it hit a lot of marks. It kept me entertained. It was satisfying.
Old school with a hyphen, so that way it stays one word.
Mm-hmm.
Because the old days of professional wrestling used to rely on the actual storytelling being told inside the ring.
Mm-hmm.
Tonight's SmackDown Live required most of the storytelling to be told inside of the ring. I approve.
Yep.
Unfortunately, Miss Liz has nothing else to plug right now, but apparently there's talk of a Doctor Who podcast. We'll see where that goes. But you can find her on Facebook where she shares delicious-looking food.
Thank you. We were very proud of what we made today, I have to say.
I'm a fat kid. You keep posting pork and beef and stuff, and I get hungry.
Well, you can look at my food on my Facebook is locked down, but you can look at my food posts on Instagram at LizzieP224.
Brandon, I understand you have a couple of other shows on the network here, but don't take my show, damn it.
Okay. Then I have Monday Night Raw. Gary makes his glorious return last night, so tune into that. And then Gary, and I'm assuming Gary will also be back for NXT on Thursday. And then need to talk to Jason about when he wants to do the draft review for fantasy on the fantasy side for fantasy football to the max. So stay tuned for that.
You clearly weren't paying attention to the football chat because he asked you earlier today when you wanted to do it.
Oh, I did not see it at all.
Smooth. Way to go, Bisco. Way to drop the ball there, buddy. Anyway, I got SmackDown and 205 Live here. 205 Live will be coming up next on most of these same Wrestling to the Max affiliates. I always wanted to say that. But actually, most of these same podcast networks that you find these SmackDown Live reviews on carry the 205 Live reviews as well. In addition, beginning of August, the kickoff returns with our College Football 2018 previews and prediction show. And then coming out of exhibition season, we will be doing our NFL preview and prediction show as well. That's in August here on the W2M Network. Myself, Brandon Biskobing, Jason Teasley, and Eric Watkins for the kickoff. So for Brandon Biskobing, the co-hostess with the mostest, Miss Liz Pugliese, I'm Harry Broadhurst, thanking you for listening to this week's episode of the Wrestling to the Max SmackDown Live review for May 8th, 2018. We'll see you guys soon with 205 Live. They'll be back with you next week. I'll see you guys in 3 weeks here on the W2M Network, available online at W2Mnet.com.